Hi, I'm Jason, and this is the Cultural Breakdown. I just saw Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and I thought it was pretty enjoyable. Now, is it one of those landmark action movies that you need to stop everything, go out and see it right now on the biggest screen possible? No, I don't think so, but it's still a pretty enjoyable summer blockbuster, and I would recommend it. Just as a quick rundown of the plot, it's about an advanced AI system that has the capability to control all digital technology in the world. Tom Cruise's character Ethan Hunt is initially tasked by the CIA to retrieve two keys that allow access to control the AI system, but when Ethan decides that such technology is too much for any one person or government to control, he goes rogue and sets out to destroy it. As a result, you have a race between Ethan, the CIA, a terrorist with a past connection to Ethan, and Haley Atwell's character, Grace, all trying to get a hold of the two keys for their own goals. One thing I really liked about this movie is it does stand on its own as a movie. Going into it, knowing that it's a part one, I mean, it has it in the title, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I was thinking, like, is it going to end very abruptly, like in the middle of an action scene, or did it just kind of leave you on a cliffhanger? But it doesn't really do that. There is a defined beginning, middle, and end, but it does still set up for the next movie. There are some plot elements in this movie that don't get resolved, but I'm assuming that that's something that they're saving for the next one because this is a part one after all, so they have to be something that carries over to the next movie. And I think what's being left on the table is enough that, like, it's intriguing enough to keep you wanting to come back, but it's not so much so that it's like, well, this movie is ruined because I didn't get the resolution to these plot elements right here. It's also nice that you don't have to have seen any of the other Mission Impossible movies in the franchise to understand this one. You will understand a little bit more about the characterization and the dynamic between the team and stuff like that. But other than that little bit, I mean, this movie does stand on its own. And I just think if seeing other movies in the franchise does help, but it's not required for anyone who might be curious about this movie but hasn't seen the other movies or hasn't seen all the movies in this franchise thus far. One new addition to this movie is Haley Atwell's character, Grace. She's a thief who kind of acts as a foil to Tom Cruise and his team throughout the movie because she's also one of the parties looking for the keys for her own purposes. But as the movie progresses, her and Tom Cruise kind of learn that they work better together, and if they want to actually succeed and survive this situation that they find themselves in, it's better if they put aside their differences and kind of work as a team. In modern Hollywood, they could have easily written this young British woman to be kind of the perfect counterpart to the older male co-star. She's smarter than him, better than him at everything, drags him along from set piece to set piece, foils the bad guys, and saves the day in the end, including the hero. Kind of like some other movie I can think of. Instead, we have a character who's actually likable. She's not arrogant or doesn't act arrogant, and she's even willing to ask for help when the situation calls for it. She's very capable in some areas, but lacking in others, but actually has the humility to understand that. During a car chase in the middle of the film, there's a part where she's actually driving at first, but then gets out of the car and lets Ethan drive the car instead because she understands that he's better at that sort of thing than her, and it's better for both of them if they actually let him take the wheel.
People are chasing us.
Yes, they are. You're driving.
Which is actually something really strange in modern Hollywood movie, to actually let a woman tell a man that he can be in charge of the situation, because you don't really see that a lot these days. And this isn't about like men are better than women, because she has shown herself to be better than Ethan in other areas. But at the same time, you need to understand that it's a partnership between the two of them, and they always work better when they play to each other's strengths and weaknesses, as opposed to one person is better than the other person is just the sidekick. In the end, she only reluctantly joins Ethan and his team because she realizes she's just a thief trying to make some money, and she got involved way over her head with this whole conspiracy that involves the terrorists, the government organizations, and Ethan and his team are the only ones who are also trying to get this MacGuffin, who don't want to kill her in the process. And like I was saying before, Ethan and his team are all very capable in all this clandestine stuff, but at the same time, they understand that she has a valuable skill set that could be beneficial to them, so they're willing to take her on and work with her so long as it serves their common goal, which is honestly just to stop this doomsday weapon. The action scenes in this movie were really good too. They're inventive enough to keep you interested in it, but don't overstay their welcome. I think they leave at just the right time to keep you interested, so when the next one comes around, you're actually excited about it, as opposed to just kind of being noise throughout the whole movie. And of course, the practical stunt work that this movie was marketed upon does look really good on the big screen. You can actually tell the difference when you have an actor sitting in a car doing crazy maneuvers in a street versus an actor just kind of sitting in a car in front of a green screen with some stagehands on the side just moving the vehicle just to kind of simulate motion. Some of the criticism I have for the movie is it is pretty long. It's around 3 hours long, and a lot of the problems is with the dialogue scenes. Now, I'm not one of those people who says, like, get away from the talky bits, I want to go back to the explosions. What I mean is, like, there were some things that are kind of over explained, and I get it with this. There's kind of a complex plot with a lot of things going on with twists and turns, so they have to explain some things so the audience can keep up with what's happening. But there were times where I felt that it could have been a little bit punchier. There was actually a scene near the beginning of the movie where it was pretty much people in a boardroom explaining what happened in the previous scene that we just saw as an audience. I felt that they could have chopped a lot of that stuff out because it was unnecessary for the audience. It felt like they could have cut out the first half of that scene and nothing would have been missed, but they were just dragging it out for no reason. There was also some questionable character choices made throughout the movie that can really only be explained as the characters acting dumb, and that goes for the good guys and the bad guys as well. I mean, one of the inciting incidences of this movie is Ethan is tasked with finding these keys by the CIA, but the CIA knows that Ethan has a tendency of going rogue and doing his own thing, but they task him with this really important mission of finding this doomsday weapon. Now, I understand that he's the best at this, and they try to explain it as in he has a connection with someone who has one of the keys, but it seems strange that you would give this important task to someone that you really can't trust. I mean, you would think that they would assign it to someone who's also good, but they can trust 100%, or at least they would assign someone to him that would keep tabs on the situation. I mean, because they have shown to do that in the past, get someone like kind of embedded with Ethan's team. So, I mean, it does seem strange that they would give him this task to begin with. I mean, it's like saying like, hey guy, we know we can't trust 100% who likes to do his own thing. We're going to give you this really important task and then act surprised when he doesn't do it. I mean, what were they expecting? Ethan and his team also make some questionable decisions on their use of digital technology because it's been established to the characters that they can't trust this digital technology because the AI system has infested everything. I understand in the script there has to be a point where the AI system interferes with their mission and that causes a problem for them, but I think it could have easily been written so that they ditch their digital technology and are now resorting to using more older forms of technology to try to do this mission, and as a result there's problems because they're not using the best equipment available to them. All in all, if that stuff really doesn't bother you and all you're really looking for is kind of an interesting but generic plot, cool action scenes, impressive stunt work, likable characters, exotic locations, and this is something that I could recommend. I mean, it's not going to change the landscape in action movies in the future, but I am interested in seeing part 2 when that does come out, and as a result, I would give this one a 7 out of 10. Now, if you like this video, make sure you click that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.